I can hear the whispers before I enter the ballroom. They rustle through the crowd like wine through dead leaves, and every word cuts deeper than the last. Such a shame. He was so beautiful before. Poor thing, completely blind now. 3 months and still no improvement. Doctors say it's permanent. Can you imagine? His fated mate must be devastated. My name is Nico Hayashi. I'm 24 years old, an Omega, and I've been blind for exactly 93 days, 3 months of darkness. 3 months of learning to navigate a world that suddenly stopped making visual sense. 3 months of listening to people pity me in voices they think I can't hear. My Uncle Martin's hand grips my elbow too tightly, steering me through the entrance of the grand hall. I can feel the weight of hundreds of eyes turning toward us, hear the conversations stuttering into silence as we pass. "Stand up straight," Uncle Martin hisses in my ear. "You're humiliating enough without slouching." I straighten my spine, lift my chin. It's a practiced gesture now, looking confident when I can't see where I'm going. Looking composed when I'm terrified of tripping, of running into someone, of doing anything that might add to the spectacle I've already become. The Autumn Equinox Ball is the most important social event of the season. Every noble family in the kingdom attends, which means everyone who matters will witness whatever happens tonight. And something is going to happen tonight. Uncle Martin has been too eager, too insistent about my attendance. He wouldn't force me to come to a public event just 3 months after losing my sight unless he had a reason. The ballroom smells like too many people wearing too much perfume. Roses and jasmine and something citrus underneath. The air is thick with competing alpha and omega scents, making my head swim. I focus on breathing through my mouth, trying not to get overwhelmed. Music plays somewhere ahead, a string quartet performing something classical that I should probably recognize but don't. The notes blend together, making it harder to hear the individual voices around me. Uncle Martin pulls me to a stop near what feels like a wall, probably one of the marble columns that line the ballroom's perimeter. "Stay here," he says. "Don't wander off. Adrian will find you when he's ready." Adrian. Adrian Westwood. My fated mate. The bond formed 6 months ago at a garden party. I'd felt it the moment our eyes met across a crowded terrace. That instant recognition, that pull, that certainty that this person was meant for me. He'd felt it too. I'd seen it in his face, in the way his pupils dilated, in the sharp intake of breath. We'd spent the next 3 months in courtship, carefully chaperoned meetings, formal dinners with our families, long walks through public gardens. He'd been charming, attentive, everything an Omega could want in a mate. We'd planned to complete the bond after the summer solstice. Then I woke up blind. The doctors couldn't explain it. Sudden onset, no warning, no underlying condition they could identify. One morning I opened my eyes and saw nothing. Just darkness, complete and absolute. Adrian had visited me in the hospital once. I'd heard the door open, smelled his scent, expensive cologne and something sharper underneath, something that might have been fear or disgust. He'd stayed for exactly 7 minutes. I know because the nurse had marked it in her log. 7 minutes of awkward small talk before he made an excuse and left. I haven't seen him, haven't heard from him in the 93 days since. Until tonight. Uncle Martin arranged this meeting, said it was time to settle things, said Adrian deserved a chance to make his position clear, said I needed to face reality. I've been dreading this moment for weeks. I stand against the pillar, my cane folded in my hand, trying to appear smaller than I am, trying to be invisible despite knowing that's impossible. The blind Omega, the one whose fated mate probably regrets their bond. Everyone in this ballroom knows who I am, knows my story. I can feel their eyes on me, hear their whispers. Time passes. I don't know how long. I've lost the ability to judge time visually, and my watch has a smooth face that's useless to me now. Then I smell him. Adrian's scent cuts through the crowd like a blade. Cologne and ambition and that sharp note I'd noticed in the hospital. My Omega instincts respond immediately, reaching toward the bond even though my rational mind knows better. The bond is still there. I can feel it, a connection between us that formed the moment we recognized each other as mates. It's been quiet for 3 months, muted, like he's been deliberately dampening his side of it. Now it flares to life as he approaches. Nico Hayashi, his voice comes from directly in front of me. Formal, cold, nothing like the warm tones he'd used during our courtship. I turned toward him, tilting my head up to where I estimate his face must be. Adrian. Silence. I hear people moving closer, circling us. The music has stopped. The entire ballroom seems to have paused, waiting. I need to say something, Adrian says. His voice is louder now, projected, performed for an audience. My stomach drops. No, this isn't. I, Adrian Westwood, formally reject you as my fated mate. His words echo through the silent ballroom. Before these witnesses, I renounce the bond between us. The pain hits immediately. Physical, searing, like something vital being ripped from inside my chest. The bond tears, shreds, comes apart with a violence that drops me to my knees. I gasp, pressing my hands against my sternum where it hurts most. The pain radiates outward, burning through my veins, making every nerve scream. Somewhere far away, I hear gasps, shocked murmurs. Bond rejection is rare, scandalous. To do it publicly, like this. A bond with a blind Omega would weaken my bloodline, Adrian continues. His voice is steady, rehearsed. I cannot accept damaged goods as my mate regardless of what biology suggests. The pairing was clearly a mistake. Damaged goods. The words land like physical blows. I'm vaguely aware of movement around me. My uncle's disgusted sigh. Well, that's that. Can't blame the boy, really. Cruel laughter from somewhere in the crowd. Whispers growing louder. Did you see? Poor thing. Probably for the best. I try to stand, to leave with some shred of dignity intact. My legs won't cooperate. The bond-severing pain is too intense, too overwhelming. I stumble, my cane clattering to the marble floor. More laughter. Pity mixed with mockery. I'm going to be sick. Then I feel it. 3 presences, massive and overwhelming. Alpha auras so powerful they silence the room more effectively than any shout could. 3 distinct scents wash over me. Winter pine and ink. Steel and thunderstorm. Old books and honey. Power. Raw, undeniable power. A voice cuts through the chaos. Deep, cultured, carrying an authority that makes even the laughter stop instantly. Adrian Westwood. You just rejected your fated mate publicly. Do you understand the legal implications? I don't recognize the voice, but everyone else clearly does. I hear the collective intake of breath, the rustle of fabric as people bow or curtsy. It's my right to refuse a defective bond, Adrian says, but there's nervousness in his voice now, uncertainty. Another voice, rougher, edged with barely contained violence. Defective? Because he's blind? Or because you're a coward? A third voice, quieter, analytical, but no less dangerous. Something's wrong. His scent, there's poison underneath. Footsteps approach, 3 sets, moving in coordination. The powerful alpha scents intensify, surrounding me. I'm still on my knees, still reeling from the bond break, still trying to process what's happening. Hands touch my shoulders, gentle, careful, one on each shoulder, one steadying my back. Easy, the quiet voice says. We've got you. The rough voice speaks again, louder, addressing the crowd. We, the Corvain kings of the Northern Territories, claim Nico Hayashi as our mate. The ballroom erupts. Shouts, gasps, the sound of breaking glass. By law and by choice, the cultured voice continues, cutting through the noise. Witnessed here, this night, before all assembled. I can't process this, can't understand what's happening. The Corvain kings, everyone knows them. 3 brothers who rule the Northern Territories as co-monarchs, the most powerful alphas in the kingdom. And they're claiming me? Now? Here? I don't understand, I manage to whisper. My voice comes out broken, barely audible. We know, the gentle voice says, the one that smelled like books and honey. Come with us, we'll explain everything. But first, we need to get you away from here. Hands help me stand. I'm lifted carefully, supported on both sides. My legs are shaking, the bond break pain still radiating through my chest. You called him damaged goods, the rough voice says. I realize he's addressing Adrian. We call him ours. I wonder who made the better judgment. We're moving now. Walking through the crowd that parts before us like water, I can hear the whispers, the shock, the speculation. This is impossible. This can't be real. But the arms supporting me are solid. The scents surrounding me are real. And the bond break pain is starting to fade, replaced by something else. Something warm, pulling, insistent. New bonds, forming even as the old one dies. Trust us, the cultured voice says quietly. Just for now. We'll help you understand later. What choice do I have? I let them lead me away from the ballroom, away from Adrian and my uncle and the hundreds of witnesses, away from the worst moment of my life and towards something I can't see and don't understand. But for the first time in 3 months, I'm not alone. The carriage ride is silent except for the sound of hooves on cobblestone and my own ragged breathing. I sit between two of them. The third sits across from us. I can feel their presence, their warmth, their power radiating in the enclosed space. The bond break pain has faded to a dull ache. In its place, I feel new bonds forming. 3 of them, distinct but interconnected. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced. Each bond has its own texture, its own flavor. One feels solid, grounded, like stone warmed by sunlight. Another crackles with energy, electric and fierce. The third pulses gently, soothing, like a heartbeat. I don't understand how this is possible. Fated mate bonds are supposed to be singular, unique. One alpha, one omega, one connection. But I can feel 3 distinct threads weaving themselves into my consciousness, binding me to the men surrounding me. Your name is Nico, the voice across from me says. The cultured one, winter pine and ink. May I call you that? Yes, I manage. My throat is raw from crying. From the bond break scream I'd barely managed to contain. Who are you? Lysander Corvain. I'm the eldest of my brothers. The diplomatic one, though my siblings would dispute the accuracy of that description. A quiet huff of laughter from my right. The rough voice. I'm Theo, middle triplet. The warrior, in case that wasn't obvious from the fact that I wanted to rip Westwood's throat out with my bare hands. Despite everything, I almost smile. And the third? Cassian, the gentle voice on my left, says, the youngest by 7 minutes, which my brothers never let me forget. I'm a physician and healer by training. You're the kings, I say, all 3 of you. We are, Lysander confirms. We rule the Northern Territories jointly, have for the past 7 years, since our father's death. The Northern Territories, one of the most powerful regions in the kingdom, rich in resources, strategic in location, commanded by 3 alpha brothers who'd revolutionized joint rule. Everyone knew the Corvain kings. Everyone knew their reputation for fairness, strength, innovation, and they just claimed me, publicly, in front of the entire nobility. Why? The question bursts out before I can stop it. Why did you claim me? You don't know me. You don't know anything about me except that I'm blind and my fated mate just rejected me in front of everyone. We know more than you think, Cassian says carefully, but the full explanation will have to wait until we reach the palace. Some conversations shouldn't happen in carriages. What palace? Ours, Theo says. We're taking you to our home in the Northern Territories. Panic flares, sharp and immediate. You can't just kidnap me. We're not kidnapping you, Lysander interrupts firmly. We're providing sanctuary. There's a significant legal difference. You were publicly rejected and claimed in the same night. Until the formal bonding procedures are completed or refused, you're under our protection by law. My uncle was complicit in what happened tonight, Theo says flatly. We saw him. He wasn't surprised by the rejection. He knew it was coming, probably arranged it. The truth of that hits hard, stealing my breath. Of course Uncle Martin knew. He'd been too insistent about my attendance tonight, too specific about where I should stand, what I should wear, how I should behave. He'd known exactly what was going to happen, and he'd let it happen anyway. Where are we going? I ask again, needing something concrete to hold on to. The Royal Palace of the Northern Territories, Lysander says. It's about an hour's ride from here. We have medical facilities there. Cassian will examine you. Examine me for what? Cassian leans closer. I could smell poison in your scent, he says quietly, underneath your natural omega pheromones. Something toxic, something that doesn't belong. I've been checked by doctors, I say. After the blindness started. They ran every test imaginable: blood work, scans, neurological examinations. No one found anything. Did they test for deliberate poisoning? I freeze. What? The scent profile matches a specific compound, Cassian continues, his voice taking on a professional tone. Rare, expensive, designed to cause progressive neurological damage. It specifically targets the optic nerves while leaving other neurological functions intact. Someone poisoned me? My voice comes out high, disbelieving. That's impossible. Who would? That's what we need to determine, Lysander says. But Cassian's sense of smell is extraordinarily acute. If he says there's poison, there's poison. The carriage hits a bump. I'm thrown slightly to the side, caught immediately by Cassian's steadying hand. Easy, he murmurs. We're on the mountain road now. It gets rougher before it smooths out. Mountain road. We're leaving the city entirely. This is really happening. I'm in a carriage with 3 kings, heading to a palace I've never seen, because they claimed me as their mate after my actual fated mate rejected me. None of this makes sense. But then again, nothing has made sense since I woke up blind 3 months ago. The carriage stops. I hear gates opening, guards calling out greetings in sharp, military tones. Your Majesties, welcome back. Open the gates. Theo's command is brisk. And send word to the medical wing. We need Dr. Helena standing by. Yes, sir. We start moving again. The sound changes, echoing now, like we've entered an enclosed space. The inner courtyard, Lysander explains, reading my tension. We're inside the palace walls now. When the carriage finally stops, I hear footsteps approaching. Many footsteps. Carefully, Cassian says as the door opens. 3 steps down. I have you. He guides me out. The air smells different here, cleaner, crisper, pine and mountain flowers and something else. Fresh water, maybe. A fountain or stream nearby. This way, he says, taking my arm gently. There are 12 steps up to the main entrance, then we'll be inside. He counts each step as we climb. His voice is calm, methodical, designed to orient me without overwhelming me. The entrance hall is vast. I can tell by the way sound echoes, by the slight breeze that suggests high ceilings and open space. Welcome to the Palace of the Northern Territories, Lysander says. You're safe here, Nico. Whatever else happens, whatever you decide about the bond, you're safe within these walls. Footsteps approach. Multiple people moving with purpose. Your Majesties, a woman's voice. Older, authoritative. I've prepared the examination room as requested. Thank you, Helena, Cassian says. This is Nico Hayashi. He'll be staying with us indefinitely. I sense the woman Helena moving closer. She smells like herbs, an antiseptic, medical sense. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Hayashi. I'm Dr. Helena Voss, the royal physician. I understand you've had a difficult evening. That's an understatement, I mutter. She makes a sound that might be sympathy or amusement. Come with me. Let's get you examined and settled. We walk through corridors. I count turns again, trying to map the space mentally. It's a habit I've developed since losing my sight, creating mental maps based on steps, turns, distinctive sounds, or smells. Left turn, 20 paces. Right turn, 30 paces. Double doors opening. The medical wing, Cassian explains. My personal chambers are attached. You'll be staying in the guest suite next to mine. Why? Because if there's a medical emergency in the night, I want to be close, he says simply. And because this wing is the most secure in the palace, only authorized personnel can enter. A pause, and because I want you close. The honesty in his voice catches me off guard. We enter a room that smells strongly of antiseptic and herbs, the examination room. Have a seat, Dr. Voss says. There's a chair directly behind you. I sit. My hands are trembling. I clasp them together in my lap, trying to hide it. I need to examine you, Dr. Voss says. With your permission, I'll be checking your vitals, taking blood samples, and doing a general assessment. King Cassian will assist and observe. Is that acceptable? I nod, not trusting my voice. The examination is thorough but gentle. Dr. Voss talks me through every step, explaining what she's doing before she does it. Blood pressure, heart rate, lung function, reflexes. Then she moves to my eyes. I'm going to check your pupil response, she says. You'll feel my fingers near your eyes. Don't flinch if you can help it. She pulls my eyelids back gently. I hear her make a small sound, surprise or concern. What is it? Cassian asks immediately. The pupils are fixed and dilated, she says, no response to light stimulus at all, and there's a slight discoloration in the sclera, yellowish tint. Consistent with nightshade tears, Cassian says quietly. I'll need to run blood work to confirm, Dr. Voss says, but if that's what this is… Her voice trails off ominously. What? I ask. What does that mean? Nightshade tears is a rare poison, Cassian explains. It's derived from a plant that only grows in specific mountain regions. In small doses over time, it causes progressive vision loss by damaging the optic nerves. Left untreated, it causes permanent blindness. Can it be treated? Possibly, Dr. Voss says carefully, if we caught it early enough, if the nerve damage isn't too severe, but I'll need to run tests before I can give you a definitive answer. She takes blood samples, multiple vials, labeled carefully. I'll rush these to the lab, she says. We should have preliminary results by morning. After she leaves, there's silence. I sit on the examination table, processing everything. Someone poisoned me, deliberately, to make me blind. Why? Who would do that? Cassian's hand touches my shoulder gently. Come on, let me show you to your room. You need rest. He guides me through another door, into a space that smells like fresh linens and lavender. This is the guest suite, he explains. The bed is straight ahead, about 15 paces. Bathroom to your left, 8 paces. There's a wardrobe on the right side, and a sitting area by the window. He walks me through the space, letting me touch everything, build a mental map. There's a bell pull by the bed, he says. Ring it if you need anything. Someone will come immediately. Even in the middle of the night? Especially in the middle of the night. He pauses at what I assume is the door. Nico, he says quietly, I know this is overwhelming. I know you have no reason to trust us, but I need you to know something. What? When we saw you in that ballroom tonight, standing there after Westwood rejected you, trying so hard to keep your dignity despite the pain, all three of us felt it. The bond. Instantly. Simultaneously. We've never felt anything like it. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, he continues. Just know that you're not alone anymore. Whatever happens next, you have us. He leaves. I hear the door close softly. I stand in the darkness, the same darkness I've lived in for 3 months, and try to understand what just happened. This morning, I woke up dreading tonight, knowing Adrian would probably reject me, expecting humiliation. I didn't expect him to poison me first. Didn't expect 3 kings to claim me in front of everyone. Didn't expect to be standing in a royal palace, being told I might be someone's fated mate after all. None of this makes sense. But I'm so tired. Too tired to think, to question, to fight. I find the bed. It's enormous, soft, covered in what feels like silk sheets. I collapse onto it, fully clothed. Sleep takes me instantly. I wake to voices speaking quietly in the next room. The test results confirmed it, Cassian's voice. Nightshade tears, administered consistently over a 3 to 4 month period. The concentration in his system is still dangerously high. Can you counteract it? Lysander asks. Yes, but it will take time. The detoxification process alone will take weeks. The regeneration therapy for the nerve damage is even more delicate. If we push too hard, too fast, we could cause more damage than we repair. How long are we talking? Theo's voice, rough, with suppressed anger. 6 months minimum for full treatment, possibly longer depending on how his body responds. And his vision? A pause. Hard to say. The damage is extensive, but not irreversible. With proper treatment, he could recover partial sight, maybe even full sight, given time and luck. I should let them know I'm awake. Should announce myself. But I'm frozen, listening. What about the bond? Lysander asks. Will the poisoning interfere with bond formation? No, Cassian says firmly. The poison affects his physical body, not his omega biology. The bond pathways are completely intact. If anything, completing the bond might help the alpha pheromones could support his healing. Then we should tell him, Theo says. Make the offer clear. We need to be careful, Lysander warns. He's been through significant trauma. The rejection, the blindness, discovering he was poisoned all in one night. We can't rush him into a decision this important. I'm not suggesting we rush him, Theo counters. I'm suggesting we make sure he understands his options, that he knows the bond is available if he wants it. He'll need time, Cassian says. Time to heal, time to trust us. We knew this wouldn't be quick when we claimed him. Worth it, though, Theo says quietly. Even if he never accepts the bond, getting him away from Westwood and that bastard uncle was worth it. Agreed, Lysander and Cassian say together. I clear my throat. The voices stop immediately. Footsteps approach quickly. How long have you been awake? Cassian asks gently. Long enough, I admit. You found poison in my blood. Significant levels, Lysander confirms from somewhere behind Cassian, enough to cause permanent damage if left untreated. But you can treat it. I can, Cassian says. The treatment will be intensive. Daily doses of counteragent to flush the poison from your system, regenerative therapy for the nerve damage, dietary restrictions to support healing, physical therapy to retrain your optic nerves. It won't be pleasant, and there are no guarantees. Will my sight come back? Silence. Then Cassian says carefully, I can't promise that. The damage is severe, but I can promise I'll do everything in my power to give you the best possible chance. When do we start? Today, if you're willing. But Nico, you need to understand this is going to be difficult, painful at times. The counteragent will make you sick, the therapy will be exhausting, and at the end of it all, you might still be blind. I'll do it anyway, I say. I want the chance. Then we'll start this afternoon, he says. But first, breakfast. You need to eat. Over the next weeks, I begin to understand who the Corvain kings really are. They're not what I expected. Not distant rulers too busy with kingdom affairs to care about one blind Omega. They're present, attentive, and determined to be part of my life in ways that both terrify and comfort me. Lysander visits every morning at exactly 8 o'clock. I know because I've learned to track time by the palace bells that ring every hour. He brings books, audiobooks at first, but he quickly realizes I prefer when he reads to me himself. His voice is perfect for reading, measured, expressive, bringing characters to life without being theatrical about it. We work through classic literature, political treatises, historical accounts. He never talks down to me, never simplifies concepts he thinks might be too complex. Instead, he treats me like an intellectual equal, pausing to debate interpretations, asking my opinions on philosophical questions. One morning, 3 weeks into my treatment, he arrives with a book I don't recognize. This is my father's journal, he says. He kept detailed records of his reign. I thought you might find it interesting. Why would you share something so personal? Because you're going to be part of this family, he says simply. Whether you accept the bond or not, you're under our protection now. That makes you family, and family shares history. I'm quiet for a long moment, then, read it to me? He does. For hours, he reads about the challenges of joint rule, the compromises required, the victories and failures of a king trying to do right by his people. When he finishes a particularly difficult passage about a famine year and the impossible choices his father faced, I say, it must have been hard, taking over after he died. It was, Lysander admits. We were 22, barely adults, and suddenly responsible for an entire territory. Our advisors thought we should elect a single ruler. That 3 kings would lead to chaos, but you proved them wrong. Eventually. The first year was rough. We fought constantly, couldn't agree on anything. Theo wanted military expansion. Cassian wanted healthcare reform. I wanted diplomatic alliances. We were pulling in 3 different directions. What changed? We realized we were stronger together than apart, he says, that our different strengths complemented each other instead of competing. Theo's military knowledge kept us safe. Cassian's medical expertise kept our people healthy. My diplomatic skills maintained our alliances. He pauses. We learned that leadership isn't about being right. It's about being willing to listen, to compromise, to trust the people beside you. Is that why you want a pack bond? I ask quietly. Because you've learned to share power? Partly, he says. But mostly because when we saw you in that ballroom, all 3 of us felt the same pull, the same certainty. And we've learned to trust that instinct. Theo comes in the afternoons. The first time, he simply walks into my room and says, "Get up, we're going to the training yard." I can't train, I protest. I'm blind. Exactly. Which is why you need to learn to fight without sight. He's relentless. Patient, but relentless. He teaches me to listen for footsteps, to feel air displacement when someone moves near me, to use my other senses to compensate for what I can't see. Your hearing is already sharper, he says, after I successfully dodge a padded training sword for the first time. Blindness does that, forces your other senses to compensate. We train for 2 hours every afternoon. By the end of the first week, I'm exhausted and covered in bruises. But I'm also stronger, more confident, less afraid. One afternoon, after I managed to disarm him for the first time, he laughs a genuine, delighted sound. There it is, he says. There's the fire. What fire? The fire we saw in you that night, when you were on your knees in that ballroom, bond broken and humiliated, and you still tried to stand, still tried to leave with dignity. I didn't feel dignified. I felt destroyed. But you didn't stay down, he says. That's what matters. You got up. You kept going. That takes strength most people don't have. He helps me to the bench at the side of the training yard, hands me a water flask. I was engaged once, he says suddenly. About 4 years ago. I didn't know that. Not many people do. She was an Omega from a powerful family. Beautiful, intelligent, everything an alpha could want. Our families arranged the match when we were teenagers. What happened? I realized I didn't love her, he says bluntly, and she didn't love me. We were playing roles, performing for our families and society. When I finally admitted it, when I broke the engagement, everyone called me a fool. Were you? No. He's quiet for a moment. I was honest, and that's worth more than any political alliance. When you came into our lives, when all three of us felt that bond simultaneously, I knew this was real. Not performed, not arranged, real. What if I'm not strong enough for this? I ask quietly. What if I break? Then we'll help you rebuild, he says. That's what pack means. You don't carry the weight alone. Cassian spends evenings with me, administering treatments, monitoring my progress, explaining the medical science behind everything. But more than that, he talks. About his studies at the Royal Medical Academy, about the patients he's treated, about his dream of reforming healthcare across the kingdom so everyone, not just nobility, has access to proper medical care. The current system is broken, he says one night while preparing my evening dose of counteragent. If you're wealthy, you get the best care available. If you're poor, you suffer and die from easily treatable conditions. He's passionate about this. His voice takes on an intensity I don't hear when he discusses other topics. When we become full rulers, that's going to change, he says. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. You said we, I point out. You almost said I. He's quiet for a moment. Did I? You're thinking about the bond, about what happens if I accept. I think about it constantly, he admits. All three of us do. But we're trying not to pressure you. The treatment is working, I say, changing the subject. I can feel it. The constant fever is fading. My hands don't shake as much. The poison levels are dropping, he confirms. Another month and it should be completely flushed from your system. Then we can focus entirely on nerve regeneration. In my sight? Too early to tell, but I'm hopeful. He administers the injection. It burns going in, makes me nauseated for hours afterward, but I'm getting used to it. Tell me about your mother, he says after the injection is done, while we wait for the nausea to pass. I'm surprised by the question. Why? Because I want to know you, the real you, not just the Omega who was poisoned and rejected, the person underneath. So, I tell him. About my mother who died giving birth to me. About the stories my grandmother told before my father cut off contact. About the photograph I kept hidden in my closet. I wish I could have met her, I say. Sometimes I dream about her, about what she might have said to me, how she might have comforted me. She would have been proud of you, Cassian says, of the person you've become despite everything. How do you know? Because any mother would be proud of a son who survived what you survived and still retained his kindness. The words hit something deep inside me. I start crying, and he holds me until the tears stop. 6 weeks into treatment, something changes. I'm in Cassian's examination room for my daily checkup when I suddenly perceive something other than darkness. Wait, I breathe. Wait, I see something. What do you see? His voice is urgent, excited. Light, just light. blurry, indistinct, but light. Don't move. He calls for his brothers immediately. Within minutes, all three are crowded around while Cassian runs tests. By the end of the examination, we've confirmed it. My vision is returning. It's just light and shadow now, Cassian says, but there's joy in his voice. But it's significant progress. The nerve regeneration is working. I'm crying, but this time from relief and hope. Lysander takes my hand. You're going to see again, he says. Maybe not perfectly, maybe not immediately, but you're going to see. And when you do, Theo adds, you'll actually see us. Our faces, not just hear our voices. The thought terrifies and thrills me in equal measure. The vision improvement is gradual but steady. First, light and shadow, then shapes, then colors, blurry and indistinct, but there. I see Lysander's face first, one morning during our reading session. The sharp angles, the intelligent eyes, the slight smile he gets when he's pleased about something. You're exactly what I imagined, I tell him. Am I? He sounds amused. Handsome and intimidating in equal measure. He laughs. I'll take that as a compliment. I see Theo next, in the training yard. Broad shoulders, scarred hands, the fierce expression that softens when he looks at me. You're bigger than I thought, I say. Most people think that. No, I mean, you move so quietly. I didn't realize you were this imposing. I'm not imposing, I'm protective. There's a difference. Cassian is the last face I see clearly. Gentle features, kind eyes. The expression of someone who cares deeply about everything he does. You look exactly like you sound, I tell him. Kind, he guesses. Warm. Safe. He smiles. That's the best compliment I've ever received. 8 weeks into treatment, my uncle arrives at the palace. I'm in the library with Lysander when a servant announces the visitor. Martin Hayashi is demanding to see his nephew, the servant says. He's quite insistent. Demanding? Lysander's voice goes cold. Interesting choice of words. I can feel my heart rate spike. I don't want to see him. Lysander puts a hand on my shoulder. You don't have to. We can turn him away. But I need to, I realize. I need to face him. Need to know why. Theo and Cassian are summoned. The four of us go to the formal receiving room together. My vision is good enough, now, to see Uncle Martin clearly. He looks smaller than I remember, less intimidating. Nico, he says. His voice is oily, false warmth coating every word. I've been so worried when you disappeared that night. I didn't disappear. I was claimed. Yes, well, he clears his throat, glancing nervously at the three kings flanking me. About that, I've consulted with lawyers. The claiming was performed without your family's consent. It can be contested. I'm an adult, I say, my voice steady. I don't need consent. You're an Omega, he counters, and you were blind. Clearly not capable of making informed decisions in that state. My vision is returning, I say coldly, and I'm perfectly capable of making decisions, including the decision to never see you again. Silence. Then, don't be ridiculous. I'm your guardian. You need to come home. No, I don't. The kings have clearly influenced you. The kings saved me, I interrupt, feeling anger rise hot in my chest. From a poisoning you knew about. Don't deny it. You knew Adrian was going to reject me. You arranged the meeting. You made sure I was there to be humiliated publicly. I hear him shift uncomfortably. The rejection was unfortunate. The poisoning, Uncle. Tell me you didn't know about the poisoning. Longer silence. The air in the room grows heavy with tension. Then, quietly, Adrian assured me it was harmless, just enough to make the rejection seem justified, to avoid scandal. My hands clench into fists. You knew. You knew he was poisoning me, and you did nothing. What was I supposed to do? Uncle Martin's voice rises, defensive now. Your medical care after the blindness was bankrupting the family. The specialists, the treatments, the constant care you required, it was too much. Adrian's family offered to handle all the expenses if we helped facilitate a quiet rejection. It was business, Nico. Nothing personal. You sold me out for money, I say, and my voice comes out deadly quiet. You let someone poison me, blind me, destroy my life, for money. I did what I had to do to protect the family finances. I'm family, I shout. I'm your blood, and you treated me like a business transaction. Theo moves beside me. I can see him now, see the fury in his face barely held in check. Leave, he says. His voice is soft, which somehow makes it more terrifying. Now, before I forget that killing nobility without trial is frowned upon in this kingdom, you can't threaten me. I'm not threatening, Theo says. I'm promising. If you're still in this palace in 60 seconds, I will personally throw you out, and I won't be gentle about it. Uncle Martin looks at the three kings, at me, and apparently decides discretion is the better part of valor. He leaves. I never see him again. 3 months after the ball, the investigation is complete. Lysander's team uncovered everything. Purchase records for nightshade tears from a black market dealer in the southern provinces, financial transactions between Adrian's family and my uncle, letters discussing the solution to the Hayashi problem. The evidence is overwhelming. We have enough to prosecute, Lysander tells me one evening. Adrian Westwood, his mother who orchestrated the plan, your uncle who cooperated, all of them. What are the charges? Attempted murder, conspiracy, fraud, bond manipulation. If convicted, Adrian is looking at 20 years minimum. And you want me to testify? It's not required, Cassian says quickly. We have enough evidence without your testimony. But it would strengthen the case considerably. I'll do it, I say. I want to face him, want him to see that I survived despite everything he tried to do. The trial takes place 4 months after the autumn equinox ball. My vision is almost fully restored by then. I can see clearly, read without assistance, navigate without help. I can see the courtroom, see the judges in their formal robes, see Adrian sitting at the defendant's table looking pale and terrified. He doesn't look powerful anymore, just small, pathetic. The prosecution presents their evidence, purchase records, financial transactions, testimony from the dealer who sold Adrian the poison. Then it's my turn. I walk to the witness stand. My legs are steady. My voice is clear. I tell them everything. The courtship, the bond formation, the sudden blindness, the months of darkness and confusion, the public rejection. I describe waking up every day in darkness, not knowing why, not knowing if I'd ever see again. I describe the bond break pain, the humiliation of being rejected in front of everyone. I describe learning that someone I trusted, someone I thought fate had chosen for me, had poisoned me deliberately to escape our bond. When I finish, there are tears on the faces of several people in the gallery. Adrian's lawyer stands for cross-examination. Mr. Hayashi, he begins, isn't it true that you come from a minor noble family with limited resources? Yes, I say. And isn't it true that bonding with my client would have significantly elevated your social status? Yes. So you had considerable motivation to maintain the bond, regardless of my client's wishes. I had motivation to bond with someone who actually wanted me, I say clearly. Your client didn't want me. He could have rejected me before poisoning me. Instead, he chose to blind me first, to make the rejection seem justified. That's not unfortunate. That's cruel. The lawyer tries a few more questions, but I don't break, don't waver. When I step down, the three kings are waiting. They walk me out of the courtroom, flanking me protectively. You were magnificent, Lysander says. Brave, Theo adds. I'm proud of you, Cassian says quietly. The verdict comes 3 days later. Adrian Westwood is found guilty on all charges, sentenced to 20 years in prison. His mother receives 15 years for conspiracy. My uncle receives 10 years for his cooperation in the poisoning. All three families are stripped of titles and political positions. Justice served. I wait for satisfaction to come, for some sense of victory. It doesn't. Just a hollow sort of relief that it's over. We're in the carriage ride back to the palace when Cassian asks, "How do you feel?" Empty, I admit. I thought I'd feel triumphant. Instead, I just feel tired. That's normal, Lysander says. Justice doesn't erase what happened. It just acknowledges the wrong. What helps is time, Theo adds, and people who care about you. Back at the palace, they give me space. Let me process in silence. That night, I stand on the balcony of my chambers, no longer the guest suite, but permanent rooms they prepared for me months ago, and look out at the Northern Territories. I can see everything now. The mountains in the distance, the forests spreading vast and green, the city below with lights beginning to twinkle as evening falls. I can see my future, if I want it. 3 kings who've spent 4 months proving they want me, who've treated me with respect and kindness, who've never pressured me to make a decision about the bond. But now the trial is over. The poisoning is treated. My sight is restored. There's no more reason to delay. I need to decide. That night, I request a private meeting with all 3 of them. We gather in Lysander's study. I can see their faces clearly now, see the hope and fear and love in their expressions. I've made a decision, I say, about the bond. All 3 go completely still. I'm scared, I admit. My last mate poisoned and rejected me. He destroyed my sight, humiliated me publicly, and nearly destroyed my future. How do I trust that you won't hurt me too? You don't, Theo says bluntly. Trust is a choice, not a guarantee. We can't prove we'll never hurt you. We can only promise to try our best not to. And to make amends when we fail, Lysander adds, because we will fail sometimes. We're not perfect. We'll make mistakes. But we'll never deliberately harm you. We love you, Cassian says simply. All 3 of us. We've loved you since that night in the ballroom, watching you survive the worst moment of your life and still try to stand with dignity we knew then. We knew you were ours. I'm quiet for a long moment. Then, I love you too. All 3 of you. Their faces transform with joy. When I woke up blind 4 months ago, I thought my life was over. I thought I'd lost everything, my sight, my mate, my future. Instead, I found you. Found 3 people who saw past the blindness to the person underneath, who valued me for who I am, not what I could offer them. I take a deep breath. Yes, I say, I want the bond. I want you, all of you. The bonding ceremony happens 1 week later. It's private, just us, a royal official to witness, and Dr. Voss to monitor my health during the process. We stand in the palace's ceremonial chamber. Sunlight streams through tall windows, making everything glow gold. The chamber has been prepared meticulously. White roses line the walls, their scents soft and sweet. Candles wait to be lit, hundreds of them arranged in careful patterns. The floor has been polished until it gleams like a mirror. I wear traditional Omega bonding robes, white silk embroidered with delicate silver patterns that catch the light. The fabric is whisper soft against my skin, flowing around me like water. The kings wear ceremonial dress, black suits tailored perfectly, silver thread embroidered with their royal insignia. They look powerful, regal, and completely focused on me. I can see everything, every detail. The nervous excitement on Cassian's face, the way his hands flex at his sides, the fierce protectiveness in Theo's expression, the tension in his shoulders, the quiet joy in Lysander's eyes, the small smile playing at his lips. The official, an elderly beta named Chancellor Morris, begins with the traditional words. His voice is formal, carrying the weight of ceremony. We are gathered to witness the bonding of Nico Hayashi, Omega of the Hayashi line, to Lysander, Theo, and Cassian Corvain, Alpha Kings of the Northern Territories. This is a pack bond, rare and sacred, binding 4 souls as one. He looks at me. Nico Hayashi, do you enter this bond freely and willingly? I do, I say, my voice steady. Do you understand that this bond, once formed, cannot be broken except by death? I understand. Do you choose these alphas as your mates, your protectors, your pack? I choose them, I say. With all my heart, I choose them. Chancellor Morris turns to the kings. Lysander, Theo, Cassian Corvain, do you enter this bond freely and willingly? We do, they say in unison. Do you understand the responsibilities of pack alphas? To protect, to provide, to honor your Omega in all things? We understand, Lysander says. We swear it, Theo adds. With our lives, Cassian finishes. Then speak your vows, Chancellor Morris says, stepping back. We've written our own vows, spent hours choosing the right words. I speak first, my voice clear in the quiet chamber. Lysander, Theo, Cassian. When I met you, I was broken. Blind, rejected, poisoned, convinced I was worthless. You looked at me and saw something different. You saw strength where I saw weakness. You saw beauty where I saw damage. You saw a future where I saw only darkness. I take a breath, feeling emotions rise. I vow to trust you, even when fear tells me not to. I vow to let you see all of me, the broken parts and the healing parts. I vow to be your mate, your pack, your partner in all things. I choose you. Today and every day after. Lysander speaks next. His voice is warm, filled with emotion. Nico, from the moment I saw you in that ballroom, standing alone and trying so hard to be brave, I knew. I knew you were meant to be ours. I vow to protect you, to honor your strength, to never let you feel invisible again. I vow to share my throne, my power, my life with you. You are my mate, my consort, my heart. Theo's voice is rougher, emotion making it thick. Nico, I've fought in wars. I've faced enemies who wanted me dead. Nothing scared me as much as the thought of losing you before we even had you. I vow to defend you, to stand between you and anything that would harm you. I vow to be honest with you, even when the truth is hard. I vow to show you every day that you're worth fighting for. Cassian's voice is gentle, but no less intense. Nico, healing is what I do. It's who I am. But you healed me in ways I didn't know I needed. I vow to care for you, to tend to your wounds, body and heart. I vow to support your dreams, your passions, your growth. I vow to be your partner in building a better world. You are my mate, my purpose, my joy. Chancellor Morris nods, then seal the bond with the mark. This is it, the moment everything changes forever. I tilt my head to the side, exposing my neck. The bonding gland is there, just below my ear, sensitive and ready. They move in simultaneously, surrounding me. Lysander on my left, his scent of winter pine washing over me. Theo on my right, steel and thunderstorm making my omega instincts sing. Cassian behind me, old books and honey grounding me. Ready? Lysander murmurs. Ready, I confirm. On 3, Theo says. 1, 2, Cassian continues. 3, we say together. They bite down simultaneously. The pain is immediate and intense, 3 points of fire where their teeth break skin, pierce the bonding gland. I gasp, my hands clenching. But the pain lasts only seconds before something else takes over. The bonds snap into place like lightning striking. Suddenly, I can feel them, not beside me but inside me, their emotions, their thoughts, their very essence flooding through newly formed channels in my mind and heart. Lysander's fierce protectiveness crashes over me first, his pride in me, his determination to keep me safe, his overwhelming love. I can feel his mind strategic, analytical, already planning our future together. Theo's primal satisfaction comes next. The alpha need to claim and defend what's his deep affection, rough and honest, his commitment to never let me be hurt again. I can feel his strength, his loyalty, absolute and unshakable. Cassian's gentle joy wraps around me last, his relief that I'm finally, truly theirs. His tender devotion, his desire to heal and nurture, his love, deep as oceans. I can feel his compassion, his determination to make the world better for me. And they can feel me, all of me. My fear, still present despite everything. My hope, fragile but growing. My love for each of them, distinct and powerful. My trust, hard-won and precious. My trauma, the wounds, still healing. My strength, forged in darkness. My determination to be worthy of this bond. The sensation is overwhelming, too much, too intense, like trying to hold 3 hurricanes inside my chest. I gasp, my knees buckling. They catch me immediately, all 3 of them supporting my weight. Their alpha pheromones wash over me in waves, soothing, claiming, grounding. Easy, Cassian murmurs against my ear, his voice reaching me through the bond as well as my ears. We've got you. Just breathe. Let the bond settle. I breathe, in through my nose, out through my mouth, in and out, in and out. Slowly, gradually, The overwhelming sensation begins to settle. The bonds are still there, still vivid and present, but they're finding their equilibrium, like rivers settling into their channels. I can still feel them, but it's manageable now. 3 heartbeats that aren't mine, but somehow are. 3 presences that feel like extensions of myself. How do you feel? Dr. Voss asks. I'd forgotten she was there. I open my eyes, realizing I'd closed them. Perfect. I manage. I feel perfect. Heart rate is elevated but stable, she says, checking her instruments. Blood pressure good. Pheromone levels are spiking, but that's normal for fresh bonds. You're doing beautifully. Chancellor Morris steps forward, his expression pleased. By the authority vested in me by the Northern Territories and the Crown, I declare this bond sealed and recognized under law. Nico Hayashi is now bonded mate and royal consort to the Corvain kings. May your pack be strong, your love enduring, and your reign prosperous. It's done. I'm theirs. They're mine. Forever. The rest of that day passes in a haze of sensation and emotion. They escort me to our shared chambers, not the guest suite I've been staying in, but their private royal quarters, rooms I've never seen before, now mine as much as theirs. The space is beautiful. Massive windows overlooking the mountains, comfortable furniture arranged in intimate groupings, a bed large enough for all 4 of us. The bond is still settling, adjusting, finding its natural rhythm. I can feel their presence constantly now, a warm weight in my mind and heart. When Lysander feels pleased about something, I feel it. When Theo is alert to danger, I know. When Cassian is concerned, I sense it. And they can feel me. My wonder at the rooms, my exhaustion from the ceremony, my happiness, deep and profound. Tired? Lysander asks as evening approaches. Exhausted, I admit. But the good kind, the accomplished kind. The bond formation is physically taxing, Cassian explains, his medical knowledge mixing with his concern through the bond. Your body is adjusting to 3 alpha connections simultaneously. Rest is important. They settle me into bed, all 3 of them joining me without discussion. It feels natural, right? Like we've been doing this forever. Lysander on my left, one arm draped protectively over my waist. Theo on my right, his hand resting on my hip. Cassian at my back, his presence steady and warm. I'm surrounded by them, protected, wanted, home. Thank you, I whisper into the comfortable darkness. For what? Theo asks, his voice a low rumble. For choosing me, for seeing me when I couldn't see myself, for making me believe I was worth wanting. Always, Lysander says, and I feel his certainty through the bond. Forever, Cassian adds, his love washing over me. Through everything, Theo finishes, his protectiveness wrapping around me like armor. I fall asleep surrounded by my pack, by my mates, by my home. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I don't have nightmares. The weeks after the bonding are a period of adjustment and discovery. The bond changes everything, and nothing simultaneously. I'm still me, Nico, 24, Omega, lover of books and quiet moments. But I'm also part of something larger now. Part of a pack. Part of a unit that functions as one while remaining individuals. I learned to interpret the bonds, to understand what each feeling means, to distinguish between my emotions and theirs, to navigate the constant presence of 3 other people in my mind and heart. Lysander's bond is steady, grounded. When he's working, I can feel his focus, sharp and intense. When he's pleased with a diplomatic victory, satisfaction radiates through our connection. When he's concerned about kingdom affairs, I sense it before he speaks. Theo's bond is fierce, protective. When he's training, I feel his exertion, his satisfaction in physical challenge. When he's alert to potential threats, his vigilance hums through the bond. When he's content, sitting with us in quiet moments, his peace is mine. Cassian's bond is gentle, nurturing. When he's treating patients, I feel his concentration, his desire to heal. When he's researching medical advances, his curiosity flows through our connection. When he's happy, his joy lights up the bond like sunshine. And they learn to read me just as thoroughly. They know when I'm overwhelmed before I say anything. When I'm anxious, they offer comfort without me asking. When I'm happy, they share in it completely. It's intimate in ways I never imagined, sometimes too intimate. There's nowhere to hide, no way to pretend everything is fine when it's not. But it's also freeing. No more wearing masks, no more performing emotions I don't feel. They know me, truly know me, and they love me anyway. 2 months after the bonding, I take on my first official duty as royal consort. It's a healthcare reform initiative that Cassian and I have been developing together, a proposal to establish free medical clinics in every major city, funded by the Crown. We present it to the Advisory Council, a group of nobles and officials who advise the kings on policy matters. I'm nervous. This is my first time addressing them formally as consort rather than as a victim who needed protecting. Lysander squeezes my hand before we enter the council chamber. "You'll be brilliant," he says, and I feel his confidence through the bond. "They're going to love it," Cassian adds. "And if they don't," Theo says with a dangerous smile, "I'll remind them who you're bonded to." The presentation goes better than I hoped. I explain the need thousands of omegas and betas dying from treatable conditions because they can't afford care. I outline the solution: Crown-funded clinics staffed by trained physicians. I present the costs and the projected benefits. The council asks questions. I answer them, feeling my mate's support through the bonds, drawing on Cassian's medical knowledge and Lysander's political savvy. By the end, we have their approval. The first clinic opens 3 months later in the capital city. I attend the opening ceremony with my mates, cut the ribbon, meet the physicians who will staff it, speak to the first patients, people who've been suffering in silence because they couldn't afford treatment. One woman, an omega about my age, grips my hand after her appointment. "Thank you," she says, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for understanding what it's like, for caring about people like us." I squeeze back. No one should suffer because they can't afford help. Not anymore. That night, back at the palace, my mates surround me with pride and love radiating through our bonds. "You did that," Lysander says. "You saw a problem and fixed it." "You're changing lives," Cassian adds. "You're changing the world," Theo finishes. I lean into them, letting their love and pride wash over me through the bonds. "We're changing it together," I say. That's what pack means. 1 year after the autumn equinox ball, I stand on a palace balcony overlooking the Northern Territories. My vision is perfect, better than it ever was before the poisoning. Cassian says the regenerative therapy actually enhanced my baseline visual function. I can see everything. The mountains wreathed in morning mist, the forests spreading vast below, the city waking up, smoke rising from chimneys, people beginning their day. I can see my mates inside the room behind me. Lysander at his desk already, reviewing the day's agenda. Theo checking weapons before morning training. Cassian reading a medical journal with his breakfast. We've settled into a rhythm over the year. A life that feels natural, right. I've taken on responsibilities as royal consort, working with Cassian on healthcare reform, sitting in on Lysander's diplomatic meetings, training with Theo in the palace guard. The healthcare initiative is my passion project. We've created new protocols for investigating sudden illnesses, protections for vulnerable omegas, free clinics in every major city. No one else will suffer what I suffered. Not if we can prevent it. The bond mark on my neck tingles. I touch it absently, feeling the 3 overlapping scars where they marked me. Lysander appears beside me, wrapping an arm around my waist. "Happy?" he asks. "Yes," I say without hesitation. Genuinely, completely happy. Hard to believe it's been a year. I lean into him. Sometimes I think about that night. Standing in the ballroom, waiting for Adrian. If I'd known what was about to happen, "You'd have run," he finishes. "And we might have never met. Would that have been worse? Having my mate reject me, but never finding you?" He's quiet for a moment. Then, I think fate would have found a way. Maybe not that night, maybe not that dramatically, but eventually, our paths would have crossed. "You sound very certain." "I am." He kisses my temple. "Some things are inevitable, like the sun rising, like the seasons changing, like us finding you." Theo and Cassian join us on the balcony. We stand together as the sun climbs higher, bathing everything in golden light. "Do you ever regret it?" I ask quietly. Claiming me that night? Taking on all my baggage? Never, Cassian says immediately. Not for a second, Theo adds. You're not baggage, Lysander says firmly. You're ours, and we wouldn't change a thing. I believe them. Can feel the truth of it through our bonds. I used to think being blind was the worst thing that could happen to me, I say. But it brought me here, to you, to this life. We're the lucky ones, Cassian says. You chose us. After everything that happened, you still chose us. Because you were worth choosing, I say. You saw me when I couldn't see myself. You believed in me when I'd stopped believing. You loved me when I felt completely unlovable. Theo pulls me close. You were never unlovable, just unloved by the wrong people. And now, I ask, though I already know the answer, can feel it through our bonds. Now, you're exactly where you belong, Lysander says. With us, Cassian adds. Forever, Theo finishes. I look at them, my mates, my pack, my home, at these three kings who crossed a ballroom to claim a blind, rejected Omega because they felt a bond and chose to honor it. Forever, I agree. I really like the sound of that. The end. Sometimes the worst moments of our lives become doorways to the best. Sometimes being broken open is how the light gets in. Sometimes the people who reject us make space for the ones who truly see us. If Nico's journey from public rejection to perfect acceptance, from poison to healing, from blindness to sight touched your heart, please subscribe and share this story. Thanks for being here.